board will now come to order. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderwoman Tyus, Alderman Bosley, Alderman Moore, Alderwoman Hubbard, Alderwoman Ingracia, Alderman Kotar, Alderman Conway, Alderman Gunther, Alderman Ballmer, Alderwoman Martin, Alderman Arnowitz, Alderwoman Murphy, Alderwoman Howard, Alderwoman Green, Alderman Oldenburg, Alderman Rhodey, Alderman Kennedy, Alderwoman Davis, Alderwoman Spencer, Alderman Muhammad, Alderman Boyd, Alderman Vaccaro, Alderman Ogilvie, Alderman Cone, Alderman Williamson, Alderwoman Boyd, Alderwoman Navarro, President Reed,
Here.
Alderwoman Tyus, Alderman Bosley, Alderman Moore, Alderwoman Ingracia, Alderman Rhodey, Alderman Muhammad, Alderman Cone, Alderman Williamson, 20 present.
A quorum being present, we will be led today in prayer by Pastor Fannie Russell Taylor.
Let us pray. We come to you, our God and our Father, because you are the same from generation to generation. Yet, when we listen to you, there is always something new, something surprising, something startling in what you are saying to us. And at times we are shaken. At times we are hurt, yet we know that we must listen. And listening, we learn that your word is always a living word, and that the work to which you call us is always a temporary test. Give us ears to hear and committed wills to know you. Oh God, we pray your special blessings upon all people who are striving to make this a better world, especially from the insincere, selfish, haughty, and publicity-minded. Help our leaders not to overreact until all challenges are silenced by the power of force and jail. We remember long ago 3 men who died on Calvary, 2 because they were too bad, 1 because he was too good, and 2 were killed because they were below the level of society. 1 because he was above, disturbing and challenging the status quo. The gullible public crucified not only their sinners, but also their Savior. Forbid that we should do as they did. Last but not least, on November the 7th, please vote yes on Proposition P. $12.8 million to increase salaries and benefits for police officers and to fill the 100 vacancies in the department. $5.4 million to increase salaries and benefits for firefighters. $1.5 million for the Circuit Attorney's Office. $3.6 million for more summer and after-school jobs, recreation programs for kids, mental health and social workers, and building demolition. Lord, let your will be done. Amen, amen, and amen.
Man, let's give Pastor Russell a big round of applause. Believe it or not, but Pastor Fanny Russell will be celebrating her 85th birthday on November 12th. So let's give her another big round of applause and wish her a happy birthday on November 12th. Pastor Russell has a couple of guests here with her today, Dr. Morris and Betty Williams. So please stand. Let's give them a big round. Thank you for joining us today. We will dispense with line item 3, introduction of honored guests. Alderman from the 14th.
Yes, Mr. President, I'd like to have today as my honored guests Jeff Huntz from the Carpenters Union and John Adams, if they would please stand. John Adams is also one of my former students, and I'm very proud that he is representing the Carpenters Union. Also, I'd like to introduce Clinton McBride from Laborers Local, and Mr. Demetrius Alfred from Firefighters Local 73. Thank you very much.
Alderman from 22nd.
Good morning. Thank you, Mr. President, members of the board. I'd like to have as my special guests Mr. Chris Pickle and Leroy Grant with AT&T, Stephanie Robinson and Sheila Jones with Ameren, Missouri.
Alderman from 13th.
Yes, President, members of the board, I would like to introduce 2 more people from Carpenters Regional Council, and that would be Kevin Hayes and Keith Taylor. Thank you.
Alderman from the 11th.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would like to announce my special guest, Anthony Lancia from AGC.
Alderman from the 21st.
Hey, thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to introduce the real alderman of the 21st Ward, my son, John, and also the Vice President of Fire, Mr. Percy Green III.
All right. Welcome, John. Alderman from the 27th.
I'd like to welcome my guest, Mr. Searcy, with the Pipe Fitters Union.
Any further introductions? Any further introductions? Any further introductions? Alderman from the 10th, like to wrap us up?
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the board. I'm alive here. Thank you. As we're gathered here on November 3rd, it was on this day in 1956 The Wizard of Oz first came on TV. Of course, I didn't know it turned into color until we got a color TV in 1969. It's on this day in 1970 Bob Gibson won his Cy Young Award. And most importantly, this is the day we dreamed the impossible dream. It's called Love Your Lawyer Day. Thank you.
Uh-oh. All right. Alderman from the 18th, you're recognized on approval of the minutes. From the 13th and the 20th.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the board. I move for approval of the minutes of
October 13th.
October 13th to 20th.
It's been moved by the Alderman from the 18th, seconded by the Alderman from the 22nd. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Report of city officials.
Report of city officials can be found in sections A, B, and C of the agenda and have been placed in all aldermen's mailboxes. I have from Her Honor the Mayor the following correspondence. Dear members of the board, I have the pleasure to submit the following individuals for appointment to the St. Louis Mental Health Board. The reappointment of Dr. Terrell Carter, who resides in the 23rd Ward, the appointment of Dr. Darrell Hudson, who resides in the 26th Ward, and the appointment of Dr. Robert Portier, who resides in the 17th Ward. I respectfully request your approval of these appointments. Sincerely, Lyda Cruson, Mayor, City of St. Louis.
Alderman from the 26th, you recognize on the mayor's appointment to the St. Louis Mental Health Board.
Yes, Mr. President, members of the board, I'd like to make a motion for the approval of the mayor's mental health board.
It's been moved by the Alderman from 26th, seconded by the Alderman from 13th. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Dear members of the board, I have the pleasure to submit the following individuals for appointment to the Westminster Lake Special Business District Board. The appointment of Eric Scroggins, who resides in the 28th Ward, the reappointment of Virginia Haganey, who resides in the 28th Ward, the reappointment of Phil Willman, who resides in the 28th Ward, the reappointment of Mr. Les Wright, who resides in the 28th Ward, the reappointment of Sharon Lightfoot, who resides in the 28th Ward, the reappointment of Sally Niklovich, who resides in the 28th Ward. And I respectfully request your approval of these appointments. Sincerely, Lyda Cruson, Mayor, City of St. Louis.
Alderwoman from the 28th, you recognize on the mayor's appointment to the Westminster Lake Special Business Board.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for the approval of the mayor's appointees to the Westminster Lake Special Business District.
Been moved by the Alderman from the 28th, seconded by the Alderman from the 24th. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, motion carries.
That's the extent of report of city officials.
We'll dispense with line items 7 and 8. Would anyone like to take any bills off of any of our informal calendars? Would anyone like to take any bills off of any of our informal calendars? We'll dispense with line items 9 through 10. First reading of board bills.
Board Bill 181, sponsored by Alderman Kotar, an ordinance amending ordinance 63535, approved August the 1st, 1995, by modifying the terms of real estate tax abatement for 11th, Clark, 8th, and Poplar redevelopment area, authorized by ordinance 63535. Board Bill 182, sponsored by Alderwoman Davis, an ordinance recommended and approved by the Airport Commissioner, Comptroller, and the Board of Estimate and Apportionment, making certain findings with respect to the transfer of $630,000 of excess money that the city, owner and operator of St. Louis Lambert International Airport, intends to transfer from Debt Service Stabilization Fund to the Airport Development Fund in accordance with Section 516B of Lambert St. Louis International Airport indenture of trust between the city as grantor and UMB Bank as trustee, dated October the 15th, 1984, as amended and restated on July the 1st, 2009, as amended and supplemented, authorizing a transfer in the amount not to exceed $630,000 from the DSSF into the Airport Development Fund during fiscal year beginning July the 1st, 2017, for the purpose of making funds available to address the emergency replacement of 5,000-gallon airfield maintenance diesel fuel storage tank, providing storage tank containing a severability clause and containing an emergency clause. Board Bill 183, sponsored by Alderwoman Davis, an ordinance recommended and approved by the Airport Commission, Board of Public Service, and the Board of Estimate and Apportionment, authorizing First Amendment to the Airfield Building and Environs Project Ordinance 70410, which authorized a multi-year public work and improvement program at St. Louis Lambert International Airport, increasing the total estimated cost of the airport building and environs project by $630,000 to $17,630,000. and amending Exhibit A entitled Fiscal Year 2017 Project Equipment List by adding a new project to the list entitled Replacement of 5,000-gallon Airfield Maintenance Diesel Fuel Storage Tanks. Authorizing supplemental appropriation in the amount of $630,000 from the Airport Development Fund into the Airport Building and Environs Projects, Ordinance 70410, approved December 19, 2016, for the payment of costs for work and services authorized therein, containing a severability clause and an emergency clause. Board Bill 184, sponsored by Alderwoman Davis, and ordinance recommended and approved by the Board of Estimate and Apportionment, authorizing and directing the Director of Airports and the Comptroller, owner and operator of St. Louis Lambert International Airport, to enter into and execute the Host International Local Concept Restaurant Concession Agreement between the city and Host International, granting to the concessionaire, subject to and in accordance with the terms, covenants, and conditions of the agreement, certain rights and privileges in connection with the occupancy and use of the premises, which is defined and more fully described in Section 201 of Concession Agreement that was approved by the Airport Commission, and containing a severability clause and containing an emergency clause. Board Bill 185, sponsored by Alderwoman Spencer, and the ordinance approving redevelopment plan for 3420 California. Board Bill 186, sponsored by Alderwoman Davis, an ordinance amending ordinance 65857 pertaining to the redevelopment agreement between the city and Grand Center Incorporated as amended, and amending the same to authorize an application for abatement for the 3637 Washington Fox Garage project, and further amending ordinance 68874 by authorizing a fifth supplemental trust indenture and containing a severability clause. Board Bill 187, sponsored by Alderman Muhammad, an ordinance requiring land reutilization authority to sell LRA land bank properties which have been owned by the city for a period of more than 10 years and located within a ward containing 500 or more LRA land bank properties to purchasers for the sum of $1, such land to be conditioned upon the written approval of the alderman of the ward in which the said property is located. That's the extent of our first readings.
Reference to committee.
To the Transportation and Commerce Committee, Board Bills 182, 183, and 184. To the Housing Committee, Board Bills 181, 185, 186, and 187. That's the extent of reference to committees.
Second reading.
The following board bills were reported out of the Streets Committee. Board Bill 167, sponsored by Alderman Ogilvy, an ordinance establishing a four-way stop sign at the intersection of Piccadilly and Commonwealth, regulating all traffic traveling on Piccadilly at Commonwealth and regulating all traffic traveling on Commonwealth at Piccadilly, and containing an emergency clause. Board Bill 179, sponsored by Alderman Vaccaro, an ordinance establishing a four-way stop sign at the intersection of Bancroft at Prather, regulating all traffic traveling eastbound and westbound on Bancroft at Prather, and regulating all traffic traveling northbound and southbound on Prather at Bancroft, and containing an emergency clause. Board Bill. The following board bills were reported out of the Public Safety Committee. Board Bill 124, sponsored by Alderman Bosley, an ordinance repealing ordinance 6900 pertaining to the issuance of any package or drink liquor license for premises within the boundaries of the 3rd Ward Liquor Control District, and in lieu thereof containing the supplementary exemptions, renewal of an existing license, and the establishment of an entertainment district, and containing an emergency clause. Board Bill 125, sponsored by Alderwoman Boyd, an ordinance repealing ordinance 70573, and in lieu thereof enacting a new ordinance prohibiting the issuance of any package or drink liquor license for any currently non-licensed premises within the boundaries of the 27th Ward Liquor Control District, and containing an emergency clause. The following board bills were reported out of the Ways and Means Committee. Board Bill 96, sponsored by Alderman Kotar, an ordinance authorizing and directing the mayor and the comptroller to execute upon receipt of and in consideration the sum of $5,000 and other good and valuable consideration, a quick claim deed to Remise, Release, and Forever Quick Claim to Midtown Locust Properties, LLC, certain city-owned property located in City Block 74, which property is known as 910 South 4th Street. Board Bill 174, sponsored by President Reed, an ordinance recommended by the Board of Estimate and Apportionment, making a supplemental appropriation to the annual budget ordinance 70540 for fiscal year beginning July the 1st, 2017, and ending June the 30th, 2018, amounting to the sum of $13,713, and containing an emergency clause. That's the extent of our second readings.
We would dispense with line item 14, perfection consent.
Board Bill 176, sponsored by Alderman Arnowitz, an ordinance authorizing and directing the Director of Health to enter into and execute a cooperative agreement award with U.S. Department of Justice, Office of Juvenile Project, upon approval of the Board of Estimate and Apportionment, and to expend funds by entering into contracts or otherwise for the cooperative agreement award purposes, and containing an emergency clause.
Alderman from the 18th, you recognize a motion for the perfection consent calendar.
Mr. President, members of the board, I move for adoption of the perfection consent calendar.
Moved by the Alderman from the 18th. Entertain a second on that motion. Seconded by the Alderman from 13th. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
That's the extent of Board Bill's perfection consent.
We will dispense with line item 16, third reading consent.
Board Bills 140, 143, 144, 145, 147, 148, 149, 150, 151, 152, 153, 154, 155, 156, 157, 158, 159, 160, 161, 162, 163, 164, 165, 166, 173, 103, 104, 106, 115, and 137 as amended.
Alderman from the 18th, you recognize on the motion for the third reading consent calendar.
Mr. President, members of the board, I move for adoption of the third reading consent calendar.
Moved by the Alderman from the 18th, seconded by the Alderman from the 22nd. Any discussion? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderwoman Tyus, Alderman Bosley, Alderman Moore, Alderwoman Hubbard, Alderwoman Ingracia, Alderman Kotar, Alderman Conway, Alderman Gunther, Alderman Vollmer, Alderwoman Martin, Alderman Arnowitz, Alderwoman Murphy, Alderwoman Howard, Alderwoman Green, Alderman Oldenburg, Alderman Rhodey, Alderman Kennedy, Alderwoman Davis, Alderwoman Spencer, Alderman Muhammad, Alderman Boyd, Alderman Vaccaro, Alderman Ogilvy, Alderman Cone, Alderman Williamson, Alderwoman Boyd, Alderwoman Navarro, President Reed,
Aye.
Alderwoman Tyus, Alderman Bosley, Alderman Moore, Alderman Arnowitz, Alderman Vaccaro. 23, I vote.
By your vote, you sustain the motion. Alderman from the 18th and third read and finally passed the aforementioned bills.
That's the extent of third reading consent.
Third reading, report of engrossments.
Board Bill 123, floor substitute, sponsored by Alderman Rhodey, and ordinance recommended by the Board of Estimate and Apportionment, authorizing the mayor to submit 2018 annual action plan to the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development to apply for funding under the Federal Community Development Block Grant, Home Investment Partnership, Emergency Solutions Grant, and Housing Opportunities for Persons with AIDS programs containing an emergency clause.
Alderman from the 17th, you recognize on the third reading and final passage of Board Bill 123, floor substitute.
Yes, Mr. President, I move for third reading, final passage.
Moved by the Alderman from the 17th. Entertaining second on that motion. Seconded by the Alderman from the 13th. Alderman, please proceed.
I renew my motion.
Any further discussion? It's been moved and seconded that we third read and finally pass Board Bill 123, floor substitute. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderwoman Tyus, Alderman Bosley, Alderman Moore, Alderwoman Hubbard, Alderwoman Ingracia, Alderman Kotar, Alderman Conway, Alderman Gunther, Alderman Vollmer, Alderwoman Martin, Alderman Arnowitz, Alderwoman Murphy, Alderwoman Howard, Alderwoman Green, Alderman Oldenburg, Alderman Rhodey, Alderman Kennedy, Alderwoman Davis, Alderwoman Spencer, Alderman Muhammad, Alderman Boyd, Alderman Vaccaro, Alderman Ogilvy, Alderman Cone, Alderman Williamson, Alderwoman Boyd, Alderwoman Navarro, President Reed,
Aye.
Alderwoman Tyus,
Present.
Alderman Bosley, Alderman Moore, Alderman Arnowitz, Alderman Muhammad, Alderman Vaccaro, 22 aye votes, 1 present.
By your vote, you sustain the motion of the Alderman from the 17th and third read and finally passed Board Bill 123, floor substitute.
That's the extent of third reading report of engrossment and final passage.
Report of enrollment.
Board Bills 140, 143, 144, 145, 147, 148, 149, 150, 151, 152, 153, 154, 155, 156, 157, 158, 159, 160, 161, 162, 163, 164, 165, 166, 173, 103, 104, 106, 115, 123 floor substitute, 137 as amended.
All other business being suspended, the President shall in open session affix his signature hereto to the end that these may become law.
Just let him know Sharon came in. He already took the slip. And tells me he's not here with Sharon.
He said, oh, that's Alderman Bosley. Look how good he's talking.
Alderman from the 19th, you recognize on the motion for the courtesy resolution calendar.
Board, I'd like to ask for approval of the courtesy calendar
It's been moved by the Alderman from the 19th. Entertain a second on that motion. Seconded by the Alderman from the 7th. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Can we have some order? Before we move forward, we need some order so that people can hear what's happening up here. So hold down some of the conversations. Please proceed. First, miscellaneous unfinished business.
We have none.
Announcements.
Announcements, Tuesday, November the 7th, Housing Committee meeting at 9 a.m. in the Kennedy Room. Thursday, full board meeting on Thursday, November the 9th at 10 a.m. in the chambers. On Friday, November the 10th, the office is closed. That's the extent of my announcements.
Any further announcements? Any further announcements? Any further announcements? Alderman from the 18th, you recognize on the motion to excuse.
Mr. President, members of the board, I move that the Alderman from the 4th be excused for necessary absence.
Moved by the Alderman from the 18th. Seconded by the Alderman from the 24th. Any discussion? Oh, 25th. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Alderman from the 18th, you're recognized on the motion to adjourn.
Mr. President, members of the board, I move that the board adjourns until Thursday, November 9th, 10 a.m.
Been moved by the Alderman from the 18th, seconded by the Alderman from the 24th, 25th. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carries.